Hi everybody, and I wanted to say Merry Christmas to you. I like saying Merry Christmas. I don't care for the Happy Holidays thing. I think that's getting old. I hope it's getting old. It's about Christmas and the birth of Jesus Christ. And I wanted to say a few things this evening about doing something because it makes you happy. Now that might sound out of the ordinary, but if you obviously notice, I have put up some lights on one of my bookshelves. And isn't that a silly kind of thing to do? I saw this girl who was talking about books, and I noticed on her bookshelf she had Christmas lights, and I thought, that's interesting. I kind of like that. And I kept looking at that, and I was at a sale with Christmas things the other day, and I just grabbed a couple of extra sets of lights and I put one of them up on my shelf. And I want to tell you why I did that. Here's the answer. 2 words. Ready? Just because. Just because. Why do I say that? Because sometimes we hem-haw and we wonder whether we should do something. I'm not talking about anything morally objectionable or anything outrageous like that. I'm just talking about something that's probably minor and just something questionable, I guess you might say, that you'd like to do and you don't know whether you want to spend a few extra dollars doing it. Now, this might sound, again, very contrary to some of the things I've been saying, but I think there's a point here. And that is, you need to do some things for yourself just because. If I was to expand that, I would say just because they make you happy. This is aside from logic and reason and perhaps even good judgment. And again, that sounds strange to say that. I don't usually talk like that. But I can remember my mother saying years ago, everybody needs to do something that's fun. And she was talking about, whether you play golf, and I like to play golf. I don't play as much as I used to. My youngest daughter is always encouraging me to not get rid of my clubs and to keep playing. But the point is, I enjoyed golf, right? And I enjoyed bowling when I bowled more often and things like that. And we all have certain activities that we like to do, whatever it might be, or it might be just some craft or decorating something a certain way. And I don't know what your thing is, or it might be just something that's not done on a regular basis, but just something that you want to do that might just bring you a little bit of happiness. This certainly ties in with the whole matter of setting up the Christmas tree. Now, as you get older, you realize this can become a questionable activity. You might wonder whether or not you want to go to the trouble of putting it up. Well, I've ended up compromising by putting up a 3-foot tree this year. And I already have it decorated and put away, and so all I have to do really is cheat and pull it out and prop it up and so on, and I have my tree. I have set up other large trees in the past for years and years, and that's what I'm doing right now anyway. And I've even thought more than one time about whether or not I should even have a Christmas tree, not because of some Christian conviction or something like that, but because of simply the trouble. Do I really want it? Who's going to see it? Is it really worth all the trouble of setting it up and putting it down and all that kind of thing? What I would say to a person who may be wondering why they should even bother, this ties in with some previous videos I was making. I want to say some things you need to do, you need to make yourself do for you. What's my basis for saying that? Because I believe, not that God has created us to put personal happiness above all other things. He has not. It would be easier to argue from a scriptural point of view that his emphasis is more on holiness than on personal happiness. But we are to enjoy life as much as we are able to within the parameters of God's will. He's put us here to live, hasn't he? He's put us here to enjoy some of the things that we can enjoy while we're here. And sometimes we need to go an extra step and just do something just because it's enjoyable. It might be that you are him-hawing in this area. Now, you might be the other extreme and be continuously doing things and buying things and going overboard in that area. But I'm speaking to the one who just sits back in the chair and wonders whether or not to still do certain things. You might be a very generous person and always doing for others. That's great. And again, I'm not encouraging personal selfishness and egoism. I'm simply saying, when it comes to perhaps one little thing even, do that one little thing where you can sit back and say, I'm glad I did that, and it makes me happy. This is not something sinful, something wicked, something outside the bounds of normalcy and decency. I'm talking about just, again, that some little something. Perhaps even this Christmas, that'll make Christmas special to you. Don't end up being the old bump on a log kind of person. Who needs that? You don't want to be that way. Don't let the twinkle go out of your eye. Don't let the smile turn into a frown. Don't let the sweetness in your life, and I'm assuming many listening are sweet people, don't let that sweetness turn into sourness. And it can become sour when we turn the lights off, when we put that special project away for good, when we no longer take delight. In the end of Ecclesiastes in the Old Testament, it's a book about great wisdom and what really, again, makes us content in life. It speaks near the end of the book about how we lose the delight in life as we age. Don't let that candle go out completely. We have all kinds of physical problems. We have financial needs, family concerns. Again, they all come into the foreground this time of year. But do that one thing that makes you smile. I think you'll be glad you did. Don't let them get to you. Did you hear that? Don't let them get to you. Don't let miserable people make you miserable. If they're going to be a malcontent, they're going to be miserable. Pray for their souls. Be there for them as best you can. But don't let that spirit contaminate you. Keep the joy of the Lord within you. I love that verse in the Old Testament. The joy of the Lord is your strength. God bless you. Maybe there's a thought there for you today. Merry Christmas again.